Okay guys, we're back with our second conspiracy debunk for the channel. I was kind of struggling on what to do this one on. We were going to do the 9/11 was an inside job conspiracy, but we missed 9/11 and I'm not really personally connected with it. So I thought maybe distasteful to do now, maybe next year, who knows. Instead, let's explain why vaccines definitely do not cause autism. We're going to use our same format as the flat earth debunk with three proofs I consider conclusive, starting with... So this is the one to me is the most concrete because obviously if autism develops prior to birth, then clearly vaccines that you get after birth play no part in it. And we have tons of literature to point this out. This is the part that these people are just kind of preying on ignorance, including the largest study to date having every ASD child showing disruptions in different prenatal stages from proliferation to neural activity. This same paper found that in ASD males versus the controls, there was dysregulation of genes involved in neuronal differentiation and axon guidance. We also have studies with even larger sample sizes showing differing brain growth in differing prenatal stages and how the neurodivergence begins in early development and continues through all the stages of prenatal development. We also know as much as 94% of the ASD genes are formed in the womb, with its development also spanning over the entire prenatal life and being able to be tracked rather well throughout all of those stages. This alone, I think, rather conclusively demonstrates that autism begins before any vaccines would be administered, which debunks the claims these people make. But if that's not enough, we also have the fact that this one is simple, so I'll be short and sweet and just kind of show the literature. We have no studies that link autism and vaccines. The belief comes from Andrew Wakefield, we'll get into that later, but the claim is thimerosal in vaccines, mercury at these trace limits cause autism, but this has been shown to have no links to any adverse effects, let alone autism, in the trace amounts that is in vaccines. And it's been long removed from vaccines anyway, just because of the concerns, but both vaccines with and without this are shown to have no link. I want to stress that. A meta-analysis of over 1.2 million children shows no relation between autism and vaccines, or thimerosal and vaccines, or mercury and vaccines and autism, thimerosal and autism, sorry, not thimerosal and vaccines. We also have a large sample size study of siblings where one was vaccinated and one wasn't. And we found no higher rates of autism in the vaccinated population than the unvaccinated one, only further highlighting how this claim relies on correlation and there's no real causation there. You know, I found money while it was raining outside, so the rain must be why I found the money. It's a logical fallacy, of which can also be debunked with the third proof, which is... We've all now heard RFK Jr. say something along the lines of, in the 60s, there was autism at 1 in 10,000 rate, and now it's 1 in 32, or decades ago, and all of this. But this isn't due to vaccines. It's also not, you can't link it one-to-one to vaccines, but only a better understanding of autism. One only needs to understand that prior to the DSM-3, this is how these things are diagnosed, which was published in 1980, prior to that, so 1979 and back, autism was classified as a rare form of schizophrenia, not even in its own standalone categorization. And it took a couple of rounds of being categorized or diagnosed on its own before we really had the criteria of diagnosis down or a true understanding of autism. This is why we see it more common now. And I know that 1 in 32 can sound pretty common, but you have to dive deeper into those numbers because only 30% of those diagnosed with autism today have what is considered profound autism, which is that of which is severe enough to actually hinder you in life. Those who will need like help, as RFK Jr. say, will never work a job in this. And even that's a misnomer. A lot of people with profound autism can still have jobs. That was just an insane thing to say. But I just want to clarify that even what RFK Jr. is trying to say is all people with autism only affects a small portion of those. It's not like 1 in 32 kids have severe autism. That it's 70% of those with autism would go without detection from the untrained eye, and up to 70% of cases because of that could have went unmissed when we had less effective criteria. So with these three things, you can clearly kind of get a picture quickly how most of these anti-vax conspiracies, they come from a guy named Andrew Wakefield. He was pinned to do a study for these companies who wanted to make money in the absence of public medicine. And this lie about vaccines causing autism is no different than any of the other anti-vax conspiracies that have been debunked. Vaccines continue to be safe and effective, and one of the most rigorously tested medicines in America, both before reaching market and after reaching market. If you trust Tylenol, you damn sure better trust vaccines.